The Masters. Tiger Woods' 1997 dominance. Tiger Woods stepped onto Augusta National in April 1997 as a 21-year-old phenomenon. But nobody expected what happened next. This wasn't just a win. It was a complete demolition of the field and golf history itself. Yeah, Woods opened with a 70, nothing spectacular, but then something clicked. His second round 66 put him in contention, and by Saturday's 65, he had built a 9-stroke lead. The golf world was watching something unprecedented unfold. Sunday's final round became a victory lap. Woods shot 69 to finish at 18 under par, winning by 12 strokes, the largest margin of victory in Masters history. He shattered the previous scoring record by 1 shot and became the youngest Masters champion ever. But the numbers only tell part of the story. Woods was hitting drives 40 yards past his competitors, reaching par 5s and 2 with mid-irons while others needed woods. His putting was surgical. On the back 9 Sunday, the crowd wasn't cheering for competition. They were witnessing history. The moment Woods slipped on that green jacket, everything changed. Golf had its new king, and Augusta National, a course steeped in tradition and exclusivity, had crowned its first black champion. The sport would never be the same. The Open Championship, Henrik Stenson versus Phil Mickelson duel, 2016. July 17, 2016, Royal Troon. The final round of the Open Championship became a 2-man battle for the ages. Henrik Stenson and Phil Mickelson separated themselves from the field and engaged in one of the greatest head-to-head duels in major championship history. Both players started the day at 12 under par, 4 shots clear of the field. What followed was 18 holes of spectacular golf that had nothing to do with anyone else in the tournament. This was match play disguised as stroke play. Stenson opened with 3 straight birdies. Mickelson answered with birdies of his own. Neither player blinked, neither player backed down. They were feeding off each other's excellence, pushing each other to heights neither might have reached alone. The turning point came at the 15th hole. Stenson holed a 50-foot putt for birdie, his celebration showing just how much it meant. Mickelson, needing to respond, and found the bunker and made bogey. The 2-shot swing proved decisive. Stenson's final round 63 was one of the greatest closing rounds in major championship history. His 20-under total set an Open Championship scoring record. Mickelson shot 65, a round that would have won most majors, and finished 3 shots behind. The Swede's victory was his first and only major championship, but the real winner was golf itself. 2 players at the peak of their powers had produced a final round that reminded everyone why major championships matter. It was competition at its purest and most beautiful. PGA Championship Phil Mickelson's historic win at 50, 2021. May 23rd, 2021, Kiawah Island. Phil Mickelson was 50 years old, hadn't won a tournament in 2 years, and was ranked 115th in the world. Nobody gave him a chance at the PGA Championship. Nobody except Phil himself. The ocean course at Kiawah Island is a beast. 7,800 yards of wind-whipped brutality that had humbled the world's best players. But Mickelson somehow was thriving. His opening 70 put him in the mix, and rounds of 69 and 70 had him leading by 1 entering Sunday. The final round was pure theater. Mickelson's drives were finding fairways, his iron shots were precise, and his putting was vintage Phil. But the real magic was his crowd interaction. Thumbs up, fist pumps, and that trademark grin as thousands of fans followed his every move. Walking up the 18th fairway, Mickelson was mobbed by spectators. Security struggled to create a path as fans celebrated what they knew was history in the making. His approach shot found the green, and 2 putts later, he had done it. At 50 years, 11 months, and 7 days old, Mickelson became the oldest major champion in golf history. He broke Julius Boros's 53-year-old record by nearly 6 years. The victory was his 6th major and 2nd PGA championship, proving that in golf, age is sometimes just a number. The Masters, Roberto Di Vincenzo's scorecard error, 1968. April 14th, 1968. Roberto Di Vincenzo had just played the round of his life at Augusta National, shooting what he believed was a 65 to tie Bob Golby for the Masters title. The Argentine veteran was heading to a playoff for golf's most prestigious prize. Then came the devastating discovery. Di Vincenzo's playing partner Tommy Aaron had marked down a 4 instead of a 3 on the 17th hole. Di Vincenzo, caught up in the excitement, signed the incorrect scorecard without checking. Under golf's rules, the higher score stands. No exceptions, no appeals. Instead of a playoff, Golby was declared the winner. Di Vincenzo's actual score of 65 became an official 66, 1 shot behind. The man who should have been in a playoff was suddenly the runner-up. Di Vincenzo's response became golf legend. "What a stupid I am." His broken English somehow made the moment more heartbreaking. Here was a 45-year-old golfer who had just played the best golf of his Masters career only to lose because of a clerical error. The incident sparked decades of debate about golf's rigid adherence to rules versus common sense. Should intent matter? Should obvious errors be correctable? The Masters had its champion, but golf had lost something that day, the feeling that the best player always wins. US Open. Tiger Woods' playoff victory on one leg. 2008. June 16, 2008, Torrey Pines. Tiger Woods limped to the first tee with a torn ACL and 2 stress fractures in his left leg. He should have been in surgery, not playing the US Open. But this was Tiger, and this was major championship golf. Woods had struggled all week, his swing clearly compromised by the injury. He grimaced after every shot, his usual fluid motion replaced by careful, calculated swings. Still, he managed to stay in contention, his mental toughness compensating for his physical limitations. Sunday's final round was pure drama. Woods needed a 12-foot putt on the 18th hole just to force a playoff with Rocco Mediate. The putt tracked perfectly into the center of the cup, and Woods' celebration, a primal scream and fist pump, showed just how much it meant. The 18-hole Monday playoff was a masterpiece of determination. Woods and Mediate traded shots all day, neither giving an inch. They finished tied again, forcing sudden death. On the first sudden death hole, Woods hit his approach to 12 feet. Mediate's shot found the bunker. Woods rolled in the putt, won his 14th major championship, and immediately announced he was having knee surgery and would miss the rest of the season. The victory was Tiger's 3rd US Open title and arguably his most courageous. Playing on one good leg, he had outlasted the field and beaten a determined Mediate in a playoff that showcased everything great about competitive golf. US Open. Phil Mickelson's winged foot collapse. 2006. June 18, 2006. Winged foot. Phil Mickelson stood on the 18th tee with a one-shot lead and the US Open finally within his grasp. He had finished second at the US Open 4 times already. This was his moment to complete the career Grand Slam. Winged foot's 18th hole is a 450-yard par 4 that demands precision. The smart play was a 3-iron or 4-iron to the fairway, then a wedge to the green. Instead, Mickelson pulled driver, the most dangerous club in his bag on the most dangerous hole on the course. The drive sailed left into the hospitality tents. Mickelson's ball ricocheted off a tent and settled in an impossible lie among the corporate structures. His recovery shot hit a tree and barely advanced. His 3rd shot found a greenside bunker. From the bunker, Mickelson's shot flew over the green. His chip back was poor, and he 2-putted for double bogey. In the span of 5 minutes, he had gone from US Open champion to a tie for 2nd place. Jeff Ogilvy, playing behind Mickelson, made par to win his first and only major championship. But everyone was talking about Phil's collapse. The man known for his aggressive style had been undone by his own fearlessness. Mickelson's post-round interview was heartbreaking. "I still am in shock that I did that," he said. "I just can't believe I did that. I'm such an idiot." The US Open had claimed another victim, and Phil's quest for the career Grand Slam would continue. The Open Championship, Tom Watson's near miss at 59, 2009. July 19, 2009, Turnberry. Tom Watson was 59 years old and hadn't won a major championship in 26 years. He was playing on memories and muscle memory, a sentimental favorite with no realistic chance of winning the Open Championship. Then Watson started making putts. Long putts, short putts, impossible putts. His opening 65 put him in contention, and rounds of 70 and 71 had him leading by 1 stroke entering the final round. The golf world was captivated by the possibility of the impossible. Sunday at Turnberry was magical. Watson's iron shots were finding flags, his putting stroke was pure, and the Scottish crowd was pulling for the aging American legend. With each birdie, the roars grew louder. This wasn't just golf, this was sporting theater at its finest. Standing on the 18th tee, Watson needed only a par to become the oldest major champion in history. His drive found the fairway, his approach shot the green. The putt for par was 8 feet, makeable for a 5-time Open champion. The putt slid by the hole. Watson's face showed the devastation immediately. Instead of history, he was heading to a 4-hole playoff with Stuart Sink, a player 20 years younger. The playoff was anticlimactic. Sink's youth and power proved decisive, winning by 6 strokes. Watson's dream died on the Scottish links, but his performance had reminded the world why golf is the cruelest and most beautiful of games. PGA Championship. Dustin Johnson's bunker penalty, 2010. August 15, 2010, Whistling Straits. Dustin Johnson stood on the 18th tee, needing only a par to win the PGA Championship outright, or a bogey to force a playoff. What happened next became one of golf's most controversial moments. Johnson's drive sailed right into what looked like a patch of sandy waste area where spectators had been walking and standing all week. It seemed like an unfortunate but manageable lie. Johnson grounded his club behind the ball, a routine pre-shot movement every golfer makes thousands of times. But Whistling Straits had over 1,000 bunkers, many unmarked and indistinguishable from waste areas. The spot where Johnson's ball landed was technically a bunker, and grounding your club in a bunker is a 2-stroke penalty. Johnson hit his approach shot, made what he thought was a bogey for a playoff, and walked off the green believing he was heading to extra holes. Then PGA officials delivered the crushing news. 2-stroke penalty, no playoff, tournament over. The ruling was technically correct but felt fundamentally wrong. How could a player be penalized for something that looked nothing like a traditional bunker? Johnson's reaction was remarkably composed, but the golf world erupted in debate. Martin Kaymer won the championship, but everyone was talking about Johnson's penalty. The incident led to rule changes and highlighted the sometimes absurd rigidity of golf's regulations. Johnson would go on to win majors, but this moment remains a painful reminder of how cruel golf can be. These 8 moments capture everything that makes major championship golf special: triumph and heartbreak, youth and experience, precision and power. From Tiger's dominance to Watson's near miss, from Mickelson's joy to his despair, these are the moments that define golf's biggest stages and remind us why these 4 tournaments matter more than any others.